The human brain is remarkably adaptable. It constantly changes and rewires itself in response to experiences. This flexibility, known as neuroplasticity, is essential for learning, growth, and adaptation. However, this malleability also makes the brain vulnerable to the negative impacts of trauma. Trauma, whether a single event or ongoing adversity, can profoundly alter the brain's structure and function. It disrupts the delicate balance of neural circuits, particularly those involved in processing emotions, memory, and self-regulation. These changes can have long-lasting consequences for our mental and physical well-being. Imagine the brain as a complex network of roads and pathways. Trauma can be compared to a major earthquake, disrupting these well-established routes and creating roadblocks. This disruption affects how information travels within the brain, leading to difficulties in processing experiences and regulating emotions. Understanding how trauma changes the brain is crucial for developing effective treatments and supporting individuals on their journey to recovery. It reminds us that trauma is not a sign of weakness, but a biological response to overwhelming stress. When faced with a threat, the brain activates a primal survival mechanism known as the fight-or-flight response. This response, orchestrated by the amygdala, prepares the body to confront danger or escape to safety. The amygdala, often referred to as the brain's fear center, becomes highly active during trauma. In a traumatic experience, the amygdala can go into overdrive, perceiving even non-threatening situations as dangerous. This hypervigilance can lead to exaggerated fear responses, anxiety, and difficulty distinguishing between real and perceived threats. While the amygdala sounds the alarm, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thought and decision-making, struggles to function optimally under extreme stress. This imbalance between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex contributes to the overwhelming feelings of fear, helplessness, and lack of control often experienced during trauma. It's like trying to think clearly and make rational decisions while a fire alarm blares incessantly. The overwhelming sensory input makes it nearly impossible to focus. Understanding this interplay between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex helps explain why trauma survivors may struggle with emotional regulation, impulse control, and rational decision-making long after the traumatic event has passed. The hippocampus, nestled deep within the brain, plays a vital role in memory consolidation, the process of converting short-term memories into long-term storage. It helps us create a coherent narrative of our experiences and provides context for our memories. However, trauma can disrupt the hippocampus's normal functioning, leading to fragmented and disorganized memories. Imagine the hippocampus as a librarian meticulously organizing books on shelves. Trauma disrupts this orderly system, scattering memories like books strewn across the floor. Instead of a clear narrative, traumatic memories may resurface as vivid fragments, sensory flashes, nightmares, or intrusive thoughts, lacking a clear timeline or context. This fragmentation can make it challenging for trauma survivors to process and make sense of their experiences. It contributes to the haunting nature of trauma, where memories intrude on the present, often triggered by seemingly unrelated cues. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a debilitating mental health condition that can develop after experiencing or witnessing a traumatic event. It's characterized by a constellation of symptoms, including intrusive memories, avoidance behaviors, negative thoughts and feelings, and hyperarousal. PTSD is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to the profound impact trauma can have on the brain. It highlights the enduring changes in brain structure and function that can occur after experiencing overwhelming stress. The amygdala remains on high alert, the prefrontal cortex struggles to regulate emotions, and the hippocampus grapples with fragmented memories. These alterations manifest in a range of symptoms. Intrusive memories like unwanted flashbacks and nightmares haunt individuals, transporting them back to the traumatic event. Avoidance behaviors such as avoiding places, people, or activities that trigger memories offer a temporary escape but maintain the grip of fear. Understanding PTSD as a complex interplay of biological, psychological, and social factors is crucial for reducing stigma and promoting effective treatment approaches. Section 5. The Invisible Wounds of War, PTSD in combat veterans. War, a harrowing experience that exposes individuals to extreme violence and loss, serves as a stark example of trauma's profound impact on the brain. Combat veterans often carry the invisible wounds of PTSD long after the battlefields have fallen silent. The sights, sounds, and smells of war become deeply etched in their memories, resurfacing as intrusive flashbacks and nightmares. The constant threat to survival keeps the amygdala on high alert, making it challenging to transition back to civilian life where perceived threats are minimal. Veterans with PTSD may struggle with hypervigilance, always on edge, scanning their surroundings for danger. Loud noises or sudden movements can trigger intense fear responses, making it difficult to relax and feel safe. The emotional numbness that helped them cope during combat can persist, leaving them feeling detached and unable to connect with loved ones. Recognizing the unique challenges faced by combat veterans with PTSD is crucial for providing specialized support and fostering their successful reintegration into civilian life. Section 6: Vulnerable Minds. Trauma's impact on children and adolescents. Childhood and adolescence are critical periods for brain development. During these formative years, neural circuits are still forming, making young minds particularly vulnerable to the effects of trauma. Trauma experienced early in life can disrupt this delicate developmental process with long-lasting consequences for emotional regulation, social skills, and overall well-being. Imagine a sapling exposed to harsh winds and storms during its crucial growing phase. Just as the sapling's growth can become stunted and misshapen, trauma can disrupt a child's healthy brain development. Early childhood trauma can manifest in a range of difficulties, including emotional dysregulation, behavioral problems, difficulty forming secure attachments, and impaired cognitive development. It's essential to remember that children are not simply small adults. Their brains and bodies process trauma differently, and their responses may not always be immediately apparent. Creating safe and supportive environments for children who have experienced trauma, along with early intervention and appropriate therapeutic support, is paramount for mitigating the long-term impact of these adverse experiences. Section 7: Behind the Badge: Trauma and the Canadian Police Force. Canadian police officers face a unique set of occupational hazards that expose them to high levels of stress and trauma. They regularly encounter violence, human suffering, and traumatic events, taking a toll on their mental health. The cumulative exposure to these distressing situations can lead to compassion fatigue, burnout, and an increased risk of developing PTSD. Imagine carrying the weight of countless traumatic experiences on your shoulders day after day. The emotional burden can become overwhelming, impacting officers' well-being and their ability to perform their duties effectively. Canadian police organizations have recognized the importance of addressing mental health within their ranks. Initiatives focusing on peer support, mental health training, and access to confidential counseling services are crucial steps in supporting officers who face trauma regularly. Creating a culture where seeking help is seen as a sign of strength, not weakness, is paramount for breaking down stigma and encouraging officers to prioritize their mental well-being. Section 8: Hope for healing pathways to recovery and resilience. While trauma can leave enduring marks on the brain, it's crucial to remember that healing is always possible. The brain, with its remarkable capacity for neuroplasticity, can learn to adapt and heal from even the most adverse experiences. Just as the brain rewires itself in response to trauma, it can also rewire itself in response to therapeutic interventions and supportive relationships. Trauma-informed therapies, such as eye movement desensitization and reprocessing (EMDR), and trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy (TFCBT), can help individuals process traumatic memories, manage emotional dysregulation, and develop healthy coping mechanisms. These therapies work by targeting the specific brain regions and neural pathways affected by trauma. Beyond therapy, practices like mindfulness, yoga, and spending time in nature can foster a sense of calm, regulate the nervous system, and promote overall well-being. Building strong social connections, engaging in meaningful activities, and nurturing a sense of purpose and hope are also essential elements of the healing journey.